I was so undecided about what manga I should review today, so I actually asked you guys to help me vote and choose for me, and today I am doing that pick that you guys voted for. Happy Friday, friends! I am so very excited that you're here, so excited for this video. I love doing these manga reviews, and I'm really excited that you guys were able to choose this manga because earlier this week when I was filming my latest Top 5 Wednesday video talking about my 5-star predictions, I was really on the fence between two different manga titles. I actually cut out where I did this lengthy ramble talking about I don't know if I should read this manga or this manga, and the two choices were The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen, which is right here, and then A Galaxy Next Door. And as the thumbnail shows, A Galaxy Next Door won the poll. There's only 4 volumes that are currently out. Volume 5 comes out, I think, in July. And I can definitely officially say that after reading these 4 volumes, I am definitely going to be getting Volume 5. This series was so, I shouldn't say so unexpected. Let me get my thoughts together here. I featured it in the 5-star prediction video. So obviously I was assuming, and I talked about how I had skim read a little bit of volume 1 and I really enjoyed what I read. In fact, my husband and I think he read volume 1. Then we bought the whole series because he loved it. I had really loved what I had read. And so here we are. But I guess I was not prepared maybe for the themes. Maybe that is more of the right word because again, I had loved what I read. But just in case, if you're not familiar with this very sweet and fluffy adult romance, it says it's a rom-com, like when I looked on Amazon, I was leaving a written review on there, and I think it's like a yes and no, like it is, but I felt like it was a little bit more, I don't know, I'm hesitant to say slice of life because there's been like things on Twitter where people are like, don't call manga slice of life because then people think it's boring. I would be hesitant to say that this is a rom-com and more of just a romantic story. That's at least what I personally feel. Anyway, ramble aside, so it is about this young man here. His name is Ichiro, and he is a manga artist. His father has passed away. I don't know how much time passed, but his father passed away, and so now he's raising his 2 siblings. He decides that he's going to continue to be a manga artist and manga creator. He's working on a series, but when we first meet him, he is super struggling. He doesn't rely on other people. He tries to do everything and anything that he can do personally, but he is under a really heavy deadline and he doesn't think that he's gonna make it. He had 2 assistants before, and I know one of them is working and is popular with their own manga series, so he gets a phone call from his editor saying that this young girl here, her name is Shiori, that she would be interested being his manga assistant, and he's so excited. She's excited as well. So they hit it off as co-workers, I guess you would say, but then a very unexpected event happens. That is the premise of the story. So now I want to briefly talk about the characters because I think there's 3 different points that I would love to bring up and talk about with this series. I loved Shiori right from the start. She's so naive, but not in a bad way. She's very sweet and she's very elegant and she's very kind and pristine. Ultimately though, I loved her love for shoujo manga. When you see this romance unfolding and blooming, I feel like you see some of the shoujo tropes that are often talked about in shoujo, but it's done in such a refreshing way where like she's aware. Like one example is they go on a date and they go to a certain place and she's like, this is just what they would do in a shoujo manga. And I was like, that is really true because I've seen that at least in one of the shoujo manga titles I've read. And so I like that about who she is. I love that she loves manga and that she's now having this chance to pursue it as a manga artist, as a manga creator, just be able to read these manga titles that she was not able to do necessarily back home due to just how her family was. It was very sweet, and then having this where she's very naive is just, and where she's so innocent that it was really, really precious, especially when you bring in our guy Ichiro, who is just, I don't know if he's quite as naive, but he's so sweet and he's so awkward, but he has such a huge heart and he's such a family man, which I really, really loved about his character so much. It was totally beautiful and refreshing, and that was actually one of the things that I think I commented about it in the review of the 4th volume. This series was all the more sweeter because I feel feel like with a lot of adult romances that I know of, they definitely have more of a spicy take to them. That's not my personal preference. I really love my fluffy fiction, and this is definitely a very fluffy series. It was nice to see this adult fluffy romance where these two are awkward little beings and they have no dating experience, and seeing literally how at certain times they're really awkward and they're blushing like crazy it was so beautiful. It was deeply refreshing, and I was like, I have been missing this kind of romance in my manga collection, in my manga reading journey. I'm like, this is a series that I needed to read. It honestly at times reminded me a little bit of shoujo, and having just where I feel like with shoujo we associate those blushy moments and those sparkles and just those very sweet and like bump moments. Like I feel like that is associated with shoujo, but this series had it in spades, and it was even more special that they were adults. What's interesting that really actually sold me on the series, because I did love volumes 1 and 2, but volume 3 I was sold. And it was interesting because that is when we sort of have the low-key drama that comes in. And by drama I mean real world problems, real life problems that are happening in this family, happening among each other with the romance. And I did not expect that. I did not expect that, but I feel like it made the characters more relatable and more engaging, because I'm like, wow, I'm like, this is a problem that I have faced as an adult. And so I enjoyed having that kind of relatability in a different way that I don't have in shoujo manga, since most shoujo manga takes place where the main characters are high school aged. I don't know how old Ichiro is, but I know that Shiori is 18, I think. I think she's 18 or 19. But yes, I really loved how just with volume 3 and volume 4, like you meet the parents, and it was just so interesting seeing and reading this story from an adult's perspective and having the characters adults. I really enjoyed that. And I guess going into my next point that I also wanted to talk about is I have not seen this quite the same way in an adult romance, but I loved the focus, maybe not the focus, but the importance of consent and mutual respect of boundaries for the other person. Throughout the whole series, they ask for consent. They're like, can I kiss you right now? Or can I hug you right now? And I was like, wow, this is really beautiful to see how that message or that theme continues in the relationship all the way up to volume 4. And I can imagine it will continue to. It makes their relationship very, very sweet. And I would say very wholesome, and really like, wow, I'm really cheering for this couple and seeing them grow, their love grow, and seeing them continue to grow in their trust of one another, because a great message and a great theme as well that's in this story is the need for active communication. Now, I know I have talked about that before. I love when communication, like the importance of communication, plays a role in manga. I think that is just a theme we always need, a message we always need to be reminded of. And I really feel like from the first volume, Shiori is like, let me help you. If you need help, ask me for help. Like she's adamant that I cannot, or like Shiori, she's saying I cannot know what they're feeling, that person's feeling, unless she's told. It's so true for all of the characters, and just in real life, that unless somebody tells us exactly what they're feeling, we don't always know. We may think we know, or we do know somewhat, but not all of what they're feeling. So that encouragement to communicate, to comfort, to love, to use your words in the best way that you can. And even when there's certain situations, because there are a few, I'd say like 2 tense situations, I was like, I'm on the edge of my seat right now because I don't know what's gonna happen. A character even thinks, I wish I would have used my words more to encourage them or comfort them and let them know that my feelings for them don't change, or my feelings about this situation don't change. And I mean that like in a really good way. It was awesome. I was about to say it was beautiful, but I didn't want to repeat because I know I've used that word a few times already. But I enjoyed so much. That was one of my favorite parts, favorite themes, messages, whatever you want to call it, for this story. You really see, like I was skim reading or flipping through the first volume and seeing how they were at the beginning and having this emphasis on, you really need to communicate to me. And not that they had bad communication or anything, but you just see the importance of why communicating is such a good thing and having a well communicative person in a conversation. And as it goes into volume 4 and you see those moments, and I love Shiori has like this really powerful moment where she's like, I see, even if I bemoan my flaws, your feelings for me family won't change. I sense a powerful love in that. And yes, I feel like that could almost like wrap up this manga because Ichiro really struggles with relying on people. He wants to, like I said before, he wants to do it by himself. He doesn't want to have to depend on anybody. Not because I don't think he doesn't trust them or feel like they can't do a good job. That's just who he is. He wants to be able to do it himself. That leads to some events happening in this fourth volume, and he comes to realize how much of a burden it is when you're only relying on yourself and not these people who care for you, who love you, who have the best intentions for you, and that when you rely on them and you trust them, how those burdens just fall away. It was a very beautiful and wonderful part of this volume. I mean, I would say the whole series, but especially this volume. I love seeing, again, when I was skim reading, looking at the beginning to where things are in this fourth volume, I really love seeing just how they smile more, how they're communicating more. And there has always, and this is another favorite part, is this emphasis on family, the importance of family. I mean, Ichiro is a family man, hands down. He loves his siblings so much, and you see that love through his words, through his actions. It is amazing to see unfold. I feel like when I compare it to other manga, I have no other manga titles coming to mind, so I'm just saying in a generalization of what I can remember from my manga reading. I feel like, yes, you may have characters who value their family and there is an importance on family, but it'll happen, say, at the beginning of the manga, and you know the family's there and you know that that character cares for them, but you don't see the family come back and play a major role. Not with this story. Family is always at the top, and Shiori knows this right from the beginning, where he's like, I love my siblings and they always come first. And I just love that. And she's like, even if they're first, I think she actually asked the siblings that, do you think there's enough room and time for me also to get his attention? I'm like, yes. It's things like that that just stole my heart and had me fully captivated when reading this series. These themes and these messages are so incredibly powerful, and I just love seeing them unfold. I'm like, this is storytelling that we need more of in every single volume. We are seeing over and over, not in a bad repetitive way, but we're seeing Ichiro put his family first, seeing how much he cares for them and how much value he has, or that they have to him. And Shiori does not disrespect that value. She doesn't knock the kids or be like, oh, they take too much of his time. No, she wants to be involved. She wants to be able to stand by Ichiro's side and also love his siblings and care for them. And I feel like we have these moments that are so precious where I'm like, I hope that that is a foreshadowing of things to come, because they truly care for her, and the siblings are amazing. I really, really love them. What's the girl's name? Machi, I think, is the oldest sibling. She's the girl. Yes. And then Fumio, I think it's how you say the younger sibling's name. I love both of them. They are so sweet, and they're just so adorable. I love seeing them on page. It's very, very wonderful. Like, this was an unexpected read because of those points that I'm making that I did not expect. I came in thinking, well, this is just a happy, fluffy romance, and it is, but there's so many other elements to this story that make it so satisfying to read, and so, I need another word besides beautiful. I need a thesaurus right now. So wonderful and wholesome and precious, and a very moving and touching story that has this super adorable romance that unfolds, but with these other elements that come into the story, and how it's not just a romance, was so incredible to see unfold. I really appreciated it. I really loved it. Again, I love the emphasis on communication, the consent, and the strong mutual respect between one another, especially when it comes to physical contact, and the emphasis and the importance of family. And also, before I forget, since he is, our guy Ichiro is a manga artist, it was so cool being able to read a manga while seeing these characters work on manga, draw manga, write manga. That was such a cool part of the story. It was a very special experience because I haven't quite experienced something like that, and really, really enjoyed that as well. But I think I will stop there because I don't want to accidentally spoil anything, but I highly recommend checking out this manga or the anime. I believe April 8th or April 9th. The anime comes out on Crunchyroll. I am so excited to watch it. I love this story. I love this series. In fact, I told my husband last night or this morning after I read it. I was like, I sort of want to put this on my bookshelf even though it had been on his. But I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some other manga or anime that you may know of that have adult fluffy romance? Please let me know down below because I'm always up for some adult fluff, especially after reading A Galaxy Next Door. Also, have you read this series? Did you enjoy it? Are you looking forward to the anime? Are you going to be watching the anime? Totally let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!